Very nice. So, welcome everyone to the second day of this reverse pitch event. My name is Israel Garcia. I am CEO and co-founder of Startuplinks, and I'll be your host today. It's an honor and a pleasure having you all here because for the first time in its second day, Startuplinks is hosting a reverse pitch for US-based VCs, US-based institutional investors supporting Latin American startups below Series A. This is a pre-seed, seed, and late seed stage. With that being said, let's get this party started. So I'm happy to present the first institution of the day. So Francesca de Quesada, partner of the Venture City. Welcome to the party. You already have co-host permission, so whenever you're ready.
I'm Francesca de Quesada Covey. I'm a partner at the Venture City. We are dual headquartered between Miami and Madrid. I lead the first ticket, which is our pre-seed and seed vehicle. The Venture City is a global early stage venture fund of operators turned investors. And we back exceptional startups from pre-seed to Series A. We're generalists, but we've historically invested in fintech, DeFi, health tech, consumer biotech, cybersecurity, gaming, and we've now started in Web3. Our ticket size ranges from 100 to 500,000 for pre-seed and seed, and between 1 and 4 million for Series A companies. We are also, because we're dual headquartered, we take on a really naturally diverse geographically lens. So we invest in LATAM, the United States, and in Europe. And our portfolio is about 33, 33, 33. So we're equally invested in all the jurisdictions. And we have team members that are based out in each of those regions. So in our office in Spain, we have a team member in Mexico, El Salvador, in Brazil, 2 team members, and then we are based in Miami, New York, and San Francisco. To assess startups for investment, we make sure that we're looking at data from day one. So we ask that startups review and use our growth scanner, which is a proprietary tool that we've created to better understand retention and revenue of companies. And then we deploy a product-led growth methodology in order to ensure that we are best helping you, because we not only invest capital, but we also invest support from the operators that we have in-house. One caveat for this group is that you have to be a C Corp or have sales MRR in the US. So that is something that you all should keep in mind. And our value add, again, as I was mentioning, does come from those groups internal to our organization, the people internal to our organization that are focused on product, data engineering, customer service, and ops that will become an extended part of your team for the period of time that you're in our program, which runs either 3 or 6 months if we're making a pre-seed or seed investment. If you want to reach out, my email is cesi@theventure.city, and I'd be happy to talk with all of you one-on-one and learn more about the great things that you're building.
Thank you so much, Francesca. Moving on with our next institution presenting today. Welcome, Sebastián Molina, Investment Officer at Accion.
Perfect. Hey, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Sebastián Molina. I'm the Investment Officer for LATAM for Accion Venture Lab. But for those who don't know us, Accion Venture Lab, we're a global fund that invests in fintech for inclusion startups. What we believe is that startup innovation can improve financial access and quality around the world. We are global investors, but I specifically focus on our operations in Latin America, all the way from Mexico down to Brazil. And really, Accion has a strong track record. We've done more than 55 investments to date, deployed over $35 million, and supported our companies with over 70 different projects. And why do we do this? Because we believe that fintech can be a powerful lever for financial inclusion. And we think there's a big need. We know there's over 3 billion people that are financially underserved. We think that now technology is easier than ever to use to use as a as a tool to really serve those that are in need. And finally, we know there's a significant capital gap for startups that work in the impact sector. So what do we do? Besides investing, we normally invest in seed stage startups, investing between $500,000 to $1 million. We also provide help in the form of marketing customer knowledge. We bring our experience in the fintech space and our experience working with early stage startups to really help you grow and mature your company towards raising a Series A. And finally, I just want to finalize with a little bit of our track record. We've worked with a bunch of companies globally, and we aim to bring those learnings and put them to your service. So we often share whatever we learn in your industry, in a similar sector, etc., from what we've seen in India and Africa and Asia, and try to bring it to LATAM and vice versa. And with that, just thank you all for your time. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or email, whatever it's easiest. Happy to chat, especially if you're trying to have a positive impact in the region.
Thank you, Sebastian. I'm happy to see you again in this type of events. It's an honor always. Now it's Brick and Mortar turn. So representing them, it's Alice. She's already here. Welcome to the party, Alice.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Israel. So I'm Alice Leung. I'm an investor at Brick and Mortar Ventures. I'm based here in San Francisco. This is where most of the team is. That's where we're headquartered. But we do invest globally. Brick and Mortar Ventures is the most active investor investing in construction technology. We invest in the seed and Series A stages. We write $1 to $5 million checks. Average check size has been $2.5 million. And what we define the construction, or how we define construction tech, is we invest in the construction process, which starts from design through pre-construction, construction, handover, commissioning, and operations and maintenance. So this is a process that exists across many different market verticals. So we invest in technologies, building tools for single-family residential, commercial real estate, oil and gas, civil infrastructure, mining, and it's really the process of building and maintaining stuff is what we invest in. We're agnostic to business models, business types. We've invested in software, hardware, tech-enabled services, so we're definitely not shy about looking at deep tech or any of the really complicated hardware companies, because construction is a physical process. We kind of have to look holistically at all different types of business models that make sense for our industry. Let's see. So I guess our key differentiator is I kind of see ourselves as by construction for construction. So our own team, 4 out of the 5 of us, come directly from the AEC industry. So we have firsthand experience with a lot of the pain points that we're investing in. And we're also backed by a lot of large corporate strategics in the construction value chain that we can leverage to help with diligence, or we can help facilitate introductions for potential pilot projects, or even just providing feedback to the startups. We also, through our time in industry, have a wide network of all types of AEC companies that we can help leverage to introduce to a lot of the startups that we talk to for really whatever that they need help with. We'd like to work with anyone and everyone at the earliest stages as possible. I mentioned we invest in seed and Series A, but we are happy to help you with formulating your ideas if you're interested in construction tech. We're happy to help provide any type of feedback as early as possible. And the space is so large and it's still pretty nebulous. We're happy to help find white space for entrepreneurs to build technologies for. So please feel free to reach out anytime you're thinking about construction tech or excited about construction tech, or even if you're working on something, definitely feel free to reach out, and we're here to help you. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice, for your presentation. Before moving with Plug and Play Tech Center, I want to share my screen to show you something. And it's a message from one of our sponsors, AWS. It's been a great sponsor for us. So I want to share with all of you that AWS helps startups scale their business with AWS technology. They are passionate about helping startups succeed. So You can get access to $5,000 in AWS credits for your startup. Sign up to Startuplinks, visit the perk section, and apply to AWS perk for free. How does it work? You will ask, and I will say it's pretty easy. You are here at Startuplinks per section. You are going to see AWS first. You click right here, and you click right here. And that's it. You can start the process right away. It will ask you for this number. So you copy and paste it, and that's it. It's that simple. So thank you so much, AWS, for sharing this with the Startuplinks community for free. Leticia, you are already here, so good morning.
Thank you, Israel. So yeah, here Leticia from Plug and Play. I'm part of the Silicon Valley team for FinTech and enterprises specifically. I'll give you a quick background on Plug and Play. We have two arms of business. On one side, we're a venture capital firm, and we're early stage investors. We do pre-seed deals. We don't lead rounds, always following the terms of the lead. Our tickets go from $50,000 to $250,000, average at 100K more or less. We invest in pretty much all sectors, from fintech to mobility, health, OT, enterprise, sustainability, supply chain, anything tech related, really. And we have dedicated teams for all of those different verticals. As mentioned, I'm part of fintech and enterprise one. And we're based in Silicon Valley, but we have offices around the world, more than 40 actually. So we are pretty much global investors. Something that is quite interesting about Plug and Play specifically is our other business arm. We are also running a corporate innovation ecosystem. What that means is that we're serving 535 corporate partners around the world. These are large multinationals like Airbus, Coca-Cola, BNP Paribas, US Bank, and so on. And we're basically introducing them to startups that offer technologies or solutions that they're looking for because they might have a pain point looking for technologies to improve internal processes, offer more innovative solutions to our clients, find new sources of revenue. They find that pain point, they come to us, and we basically do a matchmaking with startups that already offer those solutions, and that's for free for startups. But now looking more specifically into LATAM, we actually have an office in Sao Paulo, but have partners around of the continent, and these corporates include companies like Banco de Brasilia, SCT, BNP Paribas, GNP Seguros, Claro Brasil and Colombia, Da Vivienda, Copec, and many others. We have done more than 30 investments in LATAM since 2014, and actually over half of those have happened in the past couple of years. So we're trying to increase a lot of our operations there and our investments. Some of these portfolio companies include CloudWalk, Rappi, Pago 46, Acasa, Pluggy, Delta AI, Blue 365, Banquish, and many others that we're very happy to be working with. As I mentioned, we're trying to increase our focus in LATAM, and one of the key stakeholders at Plug and Play working in our strategy for that. And I'll be very happy to connect with any founder that needs any help with internationalization, with introductions to corporates, or just any feedback in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Leticia. Okay, I guess that we can do that. Manuel Yañez, if you are ready, I'll be more than happy to.
Thank you, Isra. Give me just 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah, it's okay.
Oh, hello, everyone. I'm Manuel Yañez of Leap Global Partners. We are a cross-border venture capital fund. We currently invest in 3 main areas: in SaaS, fintech, and e-commerce. That's where our founders have experience. And we have currently 3 different type of funds. We have 3 funds. First one is Leap Partners 1, which is already closed, which we invested 31 million in many companies in Mexico, like Jadu, Worky, Guros, to put a new, and Visor. And then we have another fund, which is Rising Tide Network, which is a smaller fund, which is a 4 million, where we invest in pre-seed and seed companies. This one is called sector agnostic. So that's another one. And then we're right now raising our second fund, which is Leap Partners 2, which is a 100 million fund, which we invest in Series Seed and Series A companies. So basically, we target companies in the US who specifically target Latinos. And this is because we believe there's a huge market potential in the Latinos in the US. Also, we target Latin American markets, from Mexico all the way to Argentina and Chile, where we believe there's also an investment opportunity there. These are some of our partners. Our partners come from the venture capital industry and many of the big corporations in Mexico. Romania used to work in PayPal Ventures. Roberto Aguayo is the one who sells he's the owner of Cafeño, who invests in, provides coffee to Oxxo. Leticia Oregui is of Insurtech, which is Interprotección. Daniel Coppel of Grupo Coppel, and Lorenzo Barrera of Banco Base. And what we help mainly the companies is companies coming from US, we help them to access talent in Latin America and Mexico. We have partnership with several development labs where we can help them get software engineers and everything to expand in Mexico or Latin America. We also help them if they want to set a foot in the United States to accelerate their expansion in the US with partnership with our founders. And also we help them by investing, we invest in blocks with other VCs in the US. So we help them, raise funds in the United States and here in Mexico with corporate VCs or like family offices here in Mexico. So we source both ideas from US and Latin America. And what we do look for is that the companies are mainly formed in the United States as C Corps, and they can have subsidiaries in Mexico, or they can have a Cayman structure in the Cayman Islands. Also, on the Rising Tide network, this is mostly of family offices and a little bit of, VC funds. These are some of the funds and family offices which we invest here in Mexico and Latin America. And it's a network of 60 partners where the idea is, that if you have a need, you want to meet the founder to help you scale or give you advice, this is the network to come to, to see how to scale your company all the way, to become a successful IPO company. So these two funds have two different structures. On Leap Global Partners, we invest from $500K to $6 million. We mostly invest in seed, series, and series A. We target an ownership between 10 and 50%. And as I said, fintech, e-commerce, and SaaS. And we mostly focus on C Corps and the United States. And on the Rising Tide Network, we're sector agnostic. And we invest from 100K to 250K. And it's pre and seed investments. And in this one, we invest in literally everything, So please take the leap. And if you want to contact us, you can send us an email to this address and I'll provide my personal email.
Thank you so much, Manuel. And thanks for joining us today. So, okay, we are having next Bloomberg Capital. Jacob, welcome to the party. You already have co-host permissions.
So Blumberg Capital is a traditional early stage venture fund investing in pre-seed, seed, and A rounds. We have offices across San Francisco, New York, Miami, and Tel Aviv. And we're currently investing out of our fifth fund after being around for almost 30 years. It's a $225 billion fund, and we invest $500,000, $5 million into early stage companies. And because the way we invest in our thesis, we like to get involved, roll up our sleeves, and take a more significant ownership stake. So we typically do lead rounds at the early stage. About a third of our portfolio is in Israel. And so, in the context of LATAM investing, we have experience helping companies bridge that gap into the US market. Although we are looking for companies that are seeking, in the short term or at least in the immediate term, not necessarily such a long-term goal, to enter the US. We're looking for companies where the US is their focus market, not necessarily companies that are building solely for LATAM. And our investment thesis is around B2B software companies. We don't do consumer, and rarely, but we would consider B2B2C. But the B2B has to be that core, agreement and core business principle there. We're looking for companies with a strong technical moat. So typically in the founding team, we obviously, at the stage that we're investing, we want the founding team to be fully, full-time. And we'd also like to see a technical co-founder be involved in the business. I know one of the other funds mentioned, we also are seeking C Corps. So that's something that we can also help with, at least in the short term, to help get up to speed if that's of concern. But we are looking for companies that will adopt that. And so, very, very exciting to, with our new office in Miami, David Blumberg from Blumberg Capital the founder managing partner, moved down at the end of 2020. And we're establishing a base in Miami with over 6 individuals on the team down there. So we're certainly looking to branch more into the LATAM region and help companies bridge that gap into the US, applying some of those principles. We typically end up taking a board seat by virtue of leading the rounds that we invest in. And with that, we bring all of our resources to bear. So we have help on when it comes to hiring. We have business partnerships across Fortune 2000, let's call it, chief information and chief information security officers. We call it our CIO council. And that's really helpful from business development and customer acquisition perspective, especially, as I mentioned, on the B2B side. And just to mention sectors, we're sector agnostic within B2B. We obviously have concentrations in our portfolio across fintech, cybersecurity, health tech, data and infrastructure, supply chain logistics. But we tend to keep an open mind and be fairly agnostic. So we have companies in our portfolio as wide ranging as rare earth mineral mining, software where they're applying AI and ML to geophysics data, which is obviously relevant for LATAM. In a number of countries. We also have an investment in a company that's doing injury prevention for professional sports teams. So I give those examples to just say that we keep an open mind. We're not necessarily only investing in 1 or 2 verticals. So as long as it meets the criteria that we're looking for, I'd be more than happy to take a look and meet many of you. Thanks, Israel.
Thank you, Jacob, for joining us today and your presentation. I want to share my screen to share with all of you a message from one of our sponsors. CFO Bigs is our second sponsor for today's event. They do bookkeeping and accounting services for Mexican startups and Latin American startups in the US. So if you are a Mexican startup or Latin American company landing in the US, or you already have operations there, they might be a good fit for you. You can reach them to this email, bigsinc.contact@gmail. It's a Gmail, and its website, cfobigs.com/services.php. So thank you so much, CFO Bigs, for this sponsorship. Remember, if you are a Mexican company or Latin American company in the US, they might help you with the bookkeeping and accounting stuff. So thank you so much. And now we are ready. Carlos, welcome and good morning. Whenever you're ready.
Well, we're Alpha Impact 8. I'm the founder at Alpha Impact 8. I'm Carlos Ochoa. In Alpha Impact 8, what we do is we create atypical returns for our investors. When I say atypical, that means that, we're looking for unicorns. And also that means that we're in the top % of the funds returns. We do that by investing in technology companies. Our technology companies, they need to be in 2 different verticals, mainly. One is future work and talent tech and that related ecosystem, and the other one is fintech and e-commerce and that related ecosystem. We can do as well sustainability and education if it's tied somehow to these other 2 verticals. These technology companies, they need to have social impact purpose. Let's make the world a better place, right? And they need to be built by diverse or female founders. Todos ustedes son de Latinoamérica, todos califican. Our female founders are killing it. Definitely most welcome. In terms of our stage, we don't have a name for that because it's early stage. It can be seed, pre-seed, A, pre-A, a little bit of A. It doesn't matter. What we're interested in is when you're reaching product market fit, your first paying clients, your first real customers, that's where we're able to help. If you're not there yet, but you will be in some months, don't get discouraged, give us a call, we might be able to help you, probably. And then the market needs to be massive. That's where your company needs to be. Because we're looking for you to achieve 9 to 10 revenue figures along your life as a startup. The size of the market will determine how big your company can grow, how big your company will grow. And the ability of the team of the founders, that will determine where in that market your company will be. So definitely the founders, they need to have what the gringos call true grit. I call it personal pain. But in reality is that you need to be personally invested in the problem that you're trying to solve. And what is that problem? It needs to be a systemic problem. So if you have what it takes, echa un grito, no? You'll receive, along with capital, the know-how from successful founders to make it work. You don't need to trust me. You can ask our founders. So that's it. Let me help you change the world. Gracias.
Thank you, Carlos. Okay, moving forward with the agenda, I would like you to meet Carolina Waranka, founder and managing partner of 1504 Ventures. So welcome, Carolina.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Carolina Waranka. I am the founder and managing partner of 1504 Ventures. We are a pre-seed fund focused on LATAM and the emerging markets with a little bit of exposure to the United States. One thing, as being a former founder, that is important for entrepreneurs to know is who would you partner with? So for me, it's important upfront to share my values and a little bit about my story before I go into the thesis. So I feel very strongly that everyone has genius in them, but many founders, particularly those from emerging markets, have to travel many pathways that are much more difficult than others because of the lack of access, resource networks that they may have. 1504 is a very intentional name. It represents a zip code or a postal code. 15 is where my father was born, in a working class neighborhood in Lima, Peru. 04 is the zip code of where my mother was born in the highlands of the Andes in Peru. So the idea is where you start is not where you end. And that's the aspiration that I look for in founders I want to invest in. In terms of my background, I am a solo GP at 1504, but I have a pretty strong track record. Over 150 investments in both startups and venture funds. Because Latinas can do everything, I run 1504 for my direct investments, but I'm also the general partner of a fund of funds called First Close Partners, which invest in emerging but also very oversubscribed funds across the world. And that's a very unique point because it means I have insight into funds and also unique access to downstream capital. And I also happened to start my investing career at a fund called Kapor Capital. They were one of the first investors in Uber and scouted for Lightspeed focused on Latin America and serve on the board of Latinas in Tech, which is 13,000 technical and product managers that are Latinas working at high growth startups in the region. So what is it that we do? We invest in exceptional founders, but our thesis is around investing in tech founders who are building technologies to empower the low and moderate income populations in the US and the Americas. It's really important to know that 60%, so the majority of my investment dollars will go to Latin America. That's not always the case for many US investors that may have 10% or a 5% allocation. This is 60%. I'm unapologetic about pre-seed, and that means pre-product, pre-launch, very early. I don't lead rounds yet. So the average check size is $100,000. And we're flexible with instruments because having been a founder and having cultural context of being in the region, we'll do Cayman, we'll also do Delaware LLC. But my superpower, because I think investment funds can't do everything, is about placing top technical talent and product talent at the startups I partner with. So this is what empowerment for low to moderate income people in the Americas looks like for my thesis. It's really three pathways. One is this idea of learning to work. Another pathway is financial wellness to wealth creation. And the other one is mindset to well-being. And here you can just see a sampling. So I'm a generalist investor, just as long as they fit into these pathways. And here are some notable investments that I have made. Flevo, for instance, is a stripe of education. It was Delaware LLC, $400,000 round. I made an investment. Hello Guru was started by the first employee of Rappi. I invested at Concept. Odetta and Control Hub, both Mexican startups. Savvy is in Africa, which is a B2B supply chain marketplace on the path to be a unicorn. But these are just a sample of a few of investments that fit into the thesis, so you get a better understanding if you fit in. These are some investors that I've had the pleasure of investing in alongside Sequoia, Lightspeed, like I said, where I was a scout, and Andreessen, and first round partners as well. So in terms of criteria, very high level, there are 5. It's important for me, for the founder to have strong alignment. So they have to fit the thesis, the scale of the vision. And one thing, as a former founder, I wasn't ambitious when I first started out. It has to be a really ambitious vision, and someone has to have very clear thought process and how it is that they're going to have a plan to execute on that vision. Team is important, but team having insight. I think a lot of funds focus on, did they experience the problem? I'm contrary to that. I want to know what unique insight, what secret sauce you have, even if you haven't experienced the problem. Unique business model innovation is something important. And can this company become a unicorn? As I said, my superpowers really are 3. The strongest is on the hiring piece, then fundraising, because I also run a fund of funds. So there is an opportunity for deal flow with those funds, and then network and placement. So who are the people that have entrusted their money with me and who support me? I just want to highlight my former bosses, Mitch and Frida Kapor, but also Teresa Gao and Josh Koppelman, who each manage more than $1 billion AUM, and they're on the Midas list, which is the list of the 100 most well-known and best investors in the world. Between them, they've been on the Midas list 20 times. Federico Chester, who was a former Wharton classmate of mine, who heads up business development, LATAM Uber. Sadia, who's early at Facebook. She was early product manager there and is a marketplace expert. And then my mentor, Monica Lozano, the only Latina who sits on the board of Apple. And last but not least, TJ, who heads up The Other Co. The Other Co is an offshoot of something called Outcast. Outcast was the PR agency for Facebook, but it also was the PR agency for Andreessen Horowitz. He was a founding member there. These are relationships that I've had over 15 years. So it's not just about having a network, but it's about having a deep network that the founders that I have can get access to. And my commitment for Latin America is something that is not overnight. It's something that's been in my DNA. These are pictures even from the earlier 2000s. And I am passionate about this region. So if you're interested in learning more or want to connect, please go to the website at 1504ventures.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. Yep. Now it's MatterScale turn. So representing them is Antonio Luck, managing partner.
Thank you very much.
There it is.
Thank you so much, Israel, for having us in Startuplinks. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm going to briefly talk about MatterScale, starting with the name. When we all joined together in trying to build this new fund that we started at the end of 2019, we started with the idea of what are we going to invest in? And the first thing that we decided to do based on our backgrounds and DNA is talking about the industries that matter to us, and then really founders that are ready to scale. The team at MatterScale, which I'll put up here in just 1 second for you, is a team that loves to work with entrepreneurs, is a team that has worked with entrepreneurs for many, many, many years. And it's what we love to do the most, is really to be able to support entrepreneurs in their growth, support entrepreneurs in finding new capital and finding new money. We invest primarily in and I'm going to share here the team quickly so you can have a quick overview of who we are, where we are. And around the 5 initial managing partners who all came out of Endeavor, which is an organization that supports entrepreneurs globally. We're in over 40 countries. We also have a very large group of partners, 25 of them, that are part of our fund, invested and aligned into helping entrepreneurs succeed and helping entrepreneurs grow. We look for inspiring founders that really can inspire the company and grow. We invest primarily in the pre-seed to pre-A areas with average checks of about 400K. and we have invested as low as 150 and as high as 750K. We've built a portfolio of about 22 companies right now in the last about 18 months. And one of the things that we'd love to see in the founders is really be able to see these founders that really care about their team, are deeply thinking about their team and their culture. And we developed a tool called Culture Rank that you can also access via our website. If you're a startup, that you can have your team respond certain questions. And with those questions, you're able to kind of compare yourself to where you kind of are with other startups in terms of culture, D&I, and a few other ESG and SDG questions. We are America's based with a local presence. We really have investments already from Canada all the way to Patagonia. And we really like to be able to think of founders that have already this mindset of a regional approach, especially being in LATAM. If you're not in Brazil, you generally have to think about other countries. And if not just regional, a really global mindset, but focused on a sequential approach to markets. That's who we are. If you want to talk to us, I'll put our email over here. Our website, contact information, and more information is there. We're constantly looking for deal flow and founders, primarily in the space of health tech, ed tech, future of work, and financial services. So thank you very much for your time. I won't take any longer. Feel free to contact me if you want to learn more about MatterScale.
Thank you so much, Antonio. It was an honor having you here. Okay, thank you. Next, we have Yolín Vallejo from Kapor Capital. Yolín, welcome and good morning.
There we go. Hi everyone. Thank you, Israel, and thank you everyone at Startuplinks for putting this together. Un saludo grande a toda mi gente en Latinoamérica. My name is Yolín Vallejo. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so I'm here currently in San Francisco, California. Our fund is based in Oakland, California. For those of you in Latin America that don't know where Oakland is, it's just over the bridge from San Francisco, about a 15-minute drive with no traffic. With traffic, it's about 30 minutes. Oakland is known to be sort of the headquarters for many people of color here in the Bay Area, and we're very proudly and purposely located in Oakland. So Kapor Capital, for those of you who haven't heard of our fund before, is an impact venture fund. We focus on early stage, and we like to look at startups that are addressing urgent social needs as they transform industries. Some of you may have heard of Kapor from the days of investing in companies like Uber, Asana, Twilio, big unicorns. 2011 and on, Kapor decided to focus 100% into impact investing. And that means improving the lives of communities that have otherwise been marginalized by systemic issues in our societies. So what do we invest in? Obviously, we're looking at that pre-seed, seed, and Series A stage. That way we can really support founders throughout their growth. We're looking at tech-enabled products. So even though we are impact-focused, we need to have that tech within the industries that we're looking to improve. But the main thing and the goal that we're looking at when we're evaluating companies is, are these companies impact-focused? Are they closing gaps of access and opportunity for incomes of communities of color? So it used to be just communities of color in the US, and now we are dedicating a portion of our fund to international investments. And a lot of that will look at Latin America, Africa, and some other regions. So we're excited to be looking at international for the first time. We also have something called the Founders Commitment, and this is a pledge that founders make when they are agreeing to take investment from Kapor to really support their own company's growth, their employee makeup, and their boards once they start having them, bringing in diversity, equity, and inclusion practices from the beginning. If you're interested in that, you can look more about our, you can learn more about our Founders Commitment on our website. Very unique, not a lot of funds have a Founders Commitment. And then we are sector agnostic, but I do want to share a little bit about our focus areas, which do comprise a large part of our portfolio. We've got health tech, ed tech, and fintech as our main focus areas. And then we've got a few emerging sectors like sustainability, which has energy and clean tech included in that. people ops tech, which for some of you who've not heard that term before, it's similar to like HR tech or mitigating bias in recruiting. There's a lot of software out there that has shown that can harm people of colors based on algorithms that sometimes aren't the best or are created with some bias in mind, not purposely, but because of the way technology has been designed. We've got future of work and also justice, which is a sector that's looking at improving certain systems that are part of governments and the criminalization of individuals. Let's talk a little bit about impact because, as you can see, Kapor has been around for more than a decade. So we have a total of 178 investments. 59% of our founders are diverse. When we're talking about how the performance of those investments have looked over time, we've got a 29% IRR, which is at the highest percentile with benchmarks of Cambridge and PitchBook if you're into looking at fund performance, and we've got a 3x TVPI. So we're very happy to say that all of our investments from 2011 forward that were impact focused have also brought venture-like returns. And I think this is very important to understand because sometimes people can look at an impact fund as somewhat of a charity or philanthropy, VC philanthropy, and that's really not what this is about and what Kapor is about. I think if we look at Carlos's fund, who's looking at exceptional founders and creating future unicorns, he's also impact focused. And there's been a huge trend lately for new impact investing, which is obviously something near and dear to my heart and near and dear to Kapor as well. I'd like to just showcase a few of our international investments. Many of you, especially if you're from Mexico, you may have heard of Arcus. Arcus is a company that functioned completely in Mexico, was recently acquired by MasterCard. They did have offices in New York as well. Ajwa falls into that category. They're in Kenya. They did have an office here in the United States, but they function there. And Junco is a people ops tech company, which has an office here in the US, but they function also in Israel. So this is just a little bit of a snapshot of some of our current investments that fall in the international arena. And here are 3 examples of some of our current unicorns. So we've got Form Energy, Devoted Health, and Gusto. And then we've got some of the recent additions to the portfolio. We've got Kayaba Care, Built for Teachers, and Seed5, which came out of YC. And all of these you can look at a little bit more on our website. And then finally, I wanted to show you how unique our team is. As you can see, 2 of our general partners are African American, and we're very proud of that. Both of them have over 10 years of experience. Brian has actually invested in just under 100 companies. And as you can see, our team, we've got a mix of everyone, and we're very, very proud of that. And we're also growing. So if you are interested in recruitment and have experience in tech recruiting, we are looking for a senior director of talent. So stay tuned for that, or reach out to me personally if you're interested. All right, and I think that's about it for us. I am open to questions if you'd like to learn a little bit more about Kapor, or if not, I will drop my information here in the chat. Initially, we're looking at 250 as a minimum, and our largest that we would go at this time is 3 million, but we usually tend to stay more in that million range. So 250 up to about $1 million is the average.
Thank you so much, Jolene, for your presentation, and happy to see you again. Hopefully, we'll see you soon in San Francisco. Okay, here it is. Anaí, welcome to the party.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm the last one, but I hope that this will be probably the most entertaining one. So I'm part of Rallycap Ventures. I'm an A Cisneros venture partner over there. And I would say we're not a traditional VC, which is probably what everyone before me said. So Rallycap is both a VC, but also a community. We specialize on fintech. Within fintech, we mostly look into fintech infrastructure. And I think what makes us different from everyone is the fact that we invest in emerging markets. And like I mentioned, we have a community behind. So we actually pull a lot of people's money, a lot of operators' money, around 240 operators that are distributed across the world. So there's people that are in RallyCap that are actually based in LATAM. There's people that are based in Southeast Asia. There's people that are based in Africa. We have some LPs that are actually in Europe and also in the States. And that, let's say, the thing that connects us all is our love for fintech and basically us wanting to help advance the fintech pursuit across the world. So, I mean, right now we're talking about LATAM. I'm Peruvian, so obviously I wanted to contribute to this mission too. And I think one of the things that also characterizes us is the fact that most of the people that are RallyCap are actually operators. So we're not just investors, but a good chunk of us will know the nitty-gritties of how you do things and hopefully be able to support you further than just the money. Our ticket sizes tend to be between 75K up to 500K. Because we recently also raised an institutional fund. So now we have two pools of money where we can invest from. One being, well, the syndicate or like the collective, which is what we call, where most of these small tickets were collected. And then the other one being the institutional, where we can continue to back those founders. If you look at our website, which I will later on put over here, you can see that we've backed over 10 companies in LATAM. Some are from Argentina, some are from Mexico, from Brazil, I think we even have Colombians by now. Yeah, we do have Colombians. So we have companies from all places. And within RallyCap, you'll find that venture partners can be your ally whenever you're looking to get investment. Okay, I think generally the one thing that I want to say about RallyCap is that we try and be like people that are supportive to our podcast. That's why we call ourselves RallyCap. So ideally, you have a community of people who can rally for you. Let me just grab the link to our website so I can just put it over here. And if anyone wants to get in contact with us, you can find in our website that there is our team. And within that, you'll find the names of all the people who are part of RallyCap from the investment side. So each region has around 5 people. And I think another benefit is that, for instance, if you're a LATAM founder and you're building, I don't know, like an API business, we'll likely have seen something very similar in Africa and in Asia, and we can make that connection. So you actually can leverage this global network that we have.
It was a pleasure having you here today. And yeah, that will be it. Thank you so much to all the VCs, accelerators, and angel clubs pitching today and yesterday. It was amazing to see more than 20 institutional investors deploying capital in Latin America, being here, presenting what they are doing, very open, sharing their contact information. So thank you so much for joining us today. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and of course on YouTube. We are startuplinks.world or startuplinks.w. Thank you so much and see you very soon.